Hi, it's your friends Karen and Laura, and we're here today for another episode of Talk It Out. And before we get into the conversation, we want to tell you a little bit about the two sponsors who are helping get today's episode out to you. Studio 88 is Dentistry's story-driven marketing agency. For the first time, dental practices don't have to choose between a beautiful website and performance digital marketing. Studio 88's story-driven web experiences, along with their performance-based marketing packages, give practices the best of both worlds.
That's right. Beauty and science come together in what might be the last website you'll ever need that attracts, captivates, and connects with your community. Dentistry needs better stories. You have a story worth sharing. Studio 88 is committed to bringing it to life. Check out their website to learn more, s8e8.com, or find them on Instagram at studio8e8.
We're also super excited about our second sponsor, SKF Practice Solutions. Now, SKF Practice Solutions are exclusively devoted to open dental software, training and revenue cycle management. Now, why does that matter? Their laser focus means they know this specific software's ins and outs better than anybody else.
Yeah, they've noticed that many dentists, especially those striving to strike the right work-life balance, can feel overwhelmed with the complexities of private practice. So their services are tailored for them. By partnering with SKF Practice Solutions, dentists can significantly boost their practice efficiency, reduce burnout, and most importantly, find more time for what truly matters.
Yes, it's every step of the way that SKF Practice Solutions, they uphold their core values, their integrity, efficiency, accuracy, knowledge, and gratitude. So let them empower your practice today. You can visit them at skfpracticesolutions.com/mint to get a free copy of their RCM toolkit. So now we're going to head on over and we're going to talk it out.
What happens when best friends and business partners are also certified life coaches? Well, welcome to Let's Talk It Out, the life coach blog where we work through life's daily challenges.
So today's topic that we want to explore is unlocking the dream of every dentist and how it will create a flourishing practice with a united team. So do you ever feel like there's something missing in your dental practice? You have the technical skills, you're and a drive to succeed, but still struggle with team conflicts, communication issues, burnout, and a sense of unfulfillment.
Yeah, have you ever wished that your practice had a team that was truly united and energized by the work that they do? A team that's a positive influence on themselves, patient care, satisfaction, and referrals? If so, this Talk It Out video is for you.
That explanation of a great team that you just gave, it sounds like a dream. It was just a lovely picture that was painted in my head. But interestingly enough, the doctors who participate in our practice wellness programs don't have that dream. Their dream that they tell us is different. Their dream is having what they did call, you could put it in inverted commas, a successful practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's often the very first thing they say is that they want a successful practice. And interestingly enough, I think a lot of times they are looking at the numbers, which are very important. I'm not saying that that's not an important piece of it. They're looking at the numbers to drive what they determine is success.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting because a lot of them feel like, even if they have on paper a highly successful practice, that, something is missing and that there's not that joy and fulfillment if you have a team that's dysfunctional and you're walking into that every day.
Yeah. So when a team is like, you use the word dysfunctional team, and that brings to mind teams that are not communicating well, that they're having issues, maybe with conflict in between individuals or sub-teams within that. What does that lead to when we see that within a team? Where do they get when they suffer those things?
It's interesting, but I think, we see a lot of team members that are on the continuum of burnout. And so they are experiencing many of the symptoms of burnout, which leads for them to low job satisfaction, absenteeism, lack of team morale, team effort. And that, it's interesting, but that translates and really can taint the patient experience as well. Patients feel that energy. And that in turn impacts the bottom line, because when you have a patient that doesn't have that experience at your practice where they feel calm and cared for, and that the team is united and aligned, they're less likely to refer.
Yeah, I think all of us, even though we may have our roles in dentistry, have been patients as well. And remembering back when you've been in a practice, it didn't have to be a dental practice, it could have been a medical office or something like that, but you will remember the occasions when people have been not very nice to you, or you sense there's a weird energy between the doctor and the assistant or the nurse or whoever it is, that you really do notice these things as to the vibe of the whole place. Recently, I changed family doctors, and my new one, their reception team is so lovely. And after my interactions with them, I sit there and I'm just like, wow, this feels so nice in comparison with somewhere that it was okay. I got the treatment, but I never, and this was the interesting bit, I never once went and shared about my experience at my old family medicine practice. And yet at this one, I have only been there a couple of months, but I have already told maybe 3 or 4 people, I said, these guys are lovely.
And that's so important, because we were just talking about this actually with podcasts. We were just saying how, when you're looking to find a podcast to listen to, all the descriptions sound good and intriguing, and they sound like you want to listen to them. But when you have a friend that recommends a podcast and says, you should listen to this, you're going to get something out of this, you by far will make sure you listen to that podcast. And I think it's the same when we hear people talking about establishments, places they go where they feel cared for in a calm and positive energy environment.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the crux of where we're going with our conversation today, is the fact that to be able to create an environment in your practice where your team are flourishing, there is a lovely, warm environment that's supportive, it's calm, it feels caring, everything that a patient would want to experience, then the patients become happy. But the challenge is that without a united and energized team, how do you get to that point?
Well, and I think you bring up a good point, because I think that what happens is that when you notice that maybe your practice on paper is successful, but there's this like nagging feeling that it's not reaching its true potential. Something's not quite right. It's not meeting your expectations. And I think this is the time that a lot of dentists realize that they need some help, and they reach outside for practice consultants.
Mhm.
And they invest a lot into the practice consultants' protocols and systems, and bringing them in and doing all the research and the homework to implement. But when the team hasn't been taken care of, if they're on that burnout continuum, or there's conflict or communication issues, a lot of times all those wonderful systems and protocols from the practice consultant are met with huge resistance.
Mhm.
And
It's a familiar story.
right. I mean, I can raise my hand experiencing that myself in my own practice. So, and I think then what happens is everyone was super excited to bring the consultant in because they thought they were going to get a huge ROI, return on investment, for their time, energy. And instead, they end up getting what we term LOB, which is loss on burnout.
Yeah. I think it's probably important to say at this point for the two of us that practice consultants play a vital role in a dentist's practice. They have the knowledge, they have incredible systems, they have so much potential amazingness to bring to a practice, but it's just that the practice might not be ready for that incredible plan to be brought in to be a success.
Yeah, it's sort of like having a gaping wound that's bleeding, and you try and put a Band-Aid on it. Like, the Band-Aid holds for a little bit, but eventually the adhesive wears off and you're back to the gaping wound. It's almost like you've got to treat the well-being of those members, those individual members of your team, including the doctor, but everybody else. We've got to treat them and their well-being first, so that they're able then to absorb the great systems and protocols and all the magic from the practice consultant.
Yeah. It's from that, what it does is it maximizes the impact. Because, we recognize that a practice consultant is a significant investment. That prioritizing the people first who are going to receive that, and helping them with their total well-being and addressing burnout issues and focusing on them as whole people. It's almost a bit like an insurance policy that the practice consultants program is going to work.
Yeah. Very, very good point.
Yeah.
So instead of a Band-Aid, get an insurance policy.
So you're not going to end up with the gaping wound.
That's right. That's right. So, how do you break the burnout cycle? What do we do to say goodbye to all of that conflict, the communication issues, the lack of fulfillment, lack of joy, and help your practice achieve the potential that is really there?
Yeah. I think the very initial starting point is understanding, as individuals and as a team and as a whole practice, what are the core values, the core needs, and the motivations of the people who make up the team as a whole. And as the practice owner, you're looking at your practice. And once we can help people understand all those pieces of the puzzle, you're then ready to be able to sort of move forwards on the plan to sort of total well-being, and progress on to other ways that we can then help enhance and maximize and get you to a point where your team is ready.
Yeah. And truly that's one of our missions, our passions, is to say hello to the potential of your practice.
Mm-hmm.
And we do this with, the Mint Method Practice Wellness Program. And we let you say goodbye to conflict and communication issues, burnout, unfulfillment, and say hello to the potential of a flourishing practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I think the best bit about all of this is the difference that you see when you walk in the door of a practice who is embracing the change and the program, and the lack of resistance is then witnessed as in a positive way, because it's replaced with enthusiasm and a positive energy and people being happy to be at work. And that's what your patients will be seeing as a result of your team feeling better. And we all know that when you go to a job, we've probably all had jobs that weren't the best fit. Sadly, nobody gets it 100% right. Or if you have, then we need to know the secret of how you got a job that was perfect. But we know what it's like to go to work in a place where it's not like that. So to be able to feel differently each morning as a team member or a dentist or a practice owner, whoever's going to work, that feels great too, because that impacts how you feel day to day, not just how you're showing up for your patients, because we love talking about being whole people. And part of this is being that whole person is who you are at home. Who are you for your family, for your friends, for your community, for your neighbors? And I would pretty much guarantee that if you've got this in line at work for your practice, you're going to be such a better person when you get home at the end of the day too.
Yeah, it's an energy thing. The team feels the energy, the patients feel the energy, you feel the energy, and it's like a positive feedback loop. At the end of the day, you leave feeling more energized. And that just translates to a better overall whole person, like you said, because we're not just who we are in our professional roles, but we are who we are when we step away from that every day too. And so, if this sounds like the dream that you want, reach out. We have a complimentary lunch and learn called Harmony. And we fit it into a lunch hour where we allow time before and after so that you can settle into your lunch and then have time to set up for your afternoon. But we guarantee that after this complimentary session, that you will walk away feeling more harmonized with your team and in your practice. So, reach out, Karen, tell them how they can find us.
So you can find us, well, we're going to put it all in the show notes below. So that's the first place to look. You can find us on our website, which is themintdoor.net. And you can find us on Instagram at the Mint Door Club. And any of those ways, it's like a spider web of information. It will bring you back to our website, where there is a link where you can click to register for your Harmony workshop. And we are here to guide you every step of the way. It may seem daunting. It may seem like a big stretch to be able to have a team that we described that's, that gets on with each other, that, it's harmonious, that there's a good energy. But you can do it. It can be turned around, and it's not difficult to do when you do it with the right support. And that's what we're here to help you turn it around.
That's right. So we'd love to hear you and set up a Harmony. And we hope you enjoyed this episode of Talk It Out. If there's any topics that you would ever enjoy us talking out, be sure and just send us a message and we will put it to the Talk It Out episode. And in the meantime, we hope you all enjoy this episode and look forward to many more to come. We'll see you guys soon. Cheers.